Good day. I am me. Hopefully you are you. If not, you will be. Yeah, I debated on recording something that I've been working on singing, but yeah, he just keeps pushing me to start sharing my story. So that way you will know that God is real and He does things for people that most people think don't deserve anything, or should have any kind of recognition. But yeah, just so you know that it's my story. I'm not, holding another device, reading from any device. I don't have nothing written down on no notepad or anything. This is all 100% real, raw, authentic, straight from memory and experience. But I'm just gonna talk about things that I went through, I experienced, and we'll start at the beginning, and I'll give you a little backstory, but for the sake of face, for all the other parties that have been involved in my life in one way, shape, or form, whether they be of blood or friends or marriage or whatever, I will not be sharing any other party's names. But any of those people that do watch this video, hopefully they can do math good enough that, they can put two and two together and realize, who done what. But those that have done know who they are. I don't need to point them out. They'll face all that in their own due time, due way, and with the Father. Because that time comes for everybody. I don't care who you are, or how good you think you've been, or, you'll face Him for everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, just all of it. The actions, the words, the intentions, if you took accountability, if you did growth and learned lessons and quit doing things you shouldn't do, and all that good stuff. All that is measured on His scale in His books. But anyway, so my story, I was born in the 70s, and time was definitely different back then than what it is right now. I know a lot of people that weren't old or aren't old enough to know, but yeah, time, and time was even different prior to me, before I was born, than the time I was born in. But it's been progressing faster and faster with technology than it ever has. But yeah, so I am one of 9 kids, but I'm also an only child. It doesn't mean I was adopted, and I don't have any step brothers and sisters either. But I am the only one of the 9 kids that is connected to all 9 kids by blood, one way or another. All the other kids, the one side there was 4. Then there was another one. So I do have another brother that is an only child too, but he only has 3 brothers and 2 sisters by blood connection. And then the other side there was 3, but and then I'm the baby of the 9. And then there is 15 years between me and the oldest of all my siblings. Um, so, and there is, I think, if I remember right, 4 years between me and the next one above me in age, I think. Yeah, so I was born into what you would consider a poor family. I grew up on a junkyard. There's not too many of them around anymore because people don't buy used parts. Most people don't even know how to work on their car anymore. And most people don't even know how to change a tire or change the oil or check the air filter or any of that kind of stuff. I grew up knowing I can tear a car completely apart and put it back together. Certified? No, not by a school standard or a degree or whatever, just by Shade Tree Mechanics School of Hard Knocks of growing up on a junkyard. But it doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. And there's a lot of other people out there like that and stuff that they know how to do. They didn't go to school for it. They just learned it from whatever way, but could be certified if they wanted to be. But, like me, what's the point in being certified and going and taking a bunch of tests for you to tell me I know what I'm doing when I already know what I'm doing? To me, that's a waste of time, energy, money, effort, whatever. I don't need a piece of paper to tell me, just like I don't need a piece of paper to ordain me to know that my Father has chose me after the order of Melchizedek, that I am a high priest because of the truth he's poured into me and the things he's showing me and continuing to do so. That's all a worldly thing for them, a way to means to get money. But anyway, back to my story. My mother had 4 kids, then had another kid, and my dad had 3 kids. And then they got together, and then they had me. And I was told pretty much my whole childhood that, I was an accident and wasn't supposed to be here. And, my father, so when I say dad, I mean my physical, carnal body dad, and when I say father, I mean my Father, which is in heaven, the Creator, God. So he doesn't make mistakes or accidents. It took me a long time to kind of get through that part. Always being told that I was an accident, shouldn't be here, and amongst that they seen something in me before I knew what I had and carry, which is the whole chosen part. I am blessed, favored, anointed, chosen, and marked by the God of the Most High. He did that before I was in my mother's womb. That's what his word says. Those that are truly chosen. And our life was not a cakewalk. At least the beginning part wasn't anyway. I'm getting messages that everything's changing and gonna be better, and I'll get to experience all the good things in life and understand why I had to experience all the things I've been through. But anyway, I was born into a poor family, or what was considered a poor family back then. My parents, did they do their best? No, but I didn't either with my son. When I had him with my first wife, I was just doing what I thought was the right thing, just like they did. But yeah, to once you learn what it means to be and do your best, yeah, you have a different complete understanding at that point than what you did then when you thought you was doing your best. You were just doing what you thought was right. You weren't doing your best. Um, you know, but yeah, so it was a very dysfunctional household, family. And that's part of the generational curses of me being a chosen one, to be a curse breaker. Yeah, and they all want what I carry, but they can't carry what I have because it would break them, because they weren't designed to carry what I was given. And they only want the good part of it, the part that's coming now. All the good stuff. Wealth beyond measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over continuously. And wealth is a variety of things. It's not just finances or money or currency, whatever. It's health. It's wisdom. It's knowledge. It's understanding. It's your health. It's, along with currency, and it's, being mentally stable, control of your emotions, spiritually mature. But yeah, so it was a very dysfunctional family, household. Did not have the best dad. He was not pleasant to my siblings, either side, his own or my mom's, or even to me. We all received a different side of him. So he was kind of like what you would say a multiple personality type person, bipolar, whatever the medical scientific thing is. But yeah, so my mom's kids, he was physically, mentally and emotionally abusive towards them. And then his own kids from his first wife or other wife, I don't know if he had more than just my mom and her, but the one that he had kids with, he neglected them. In other words, he didn't really have anything to do with them. He wouldn't, he didn't go see him, didn't pay child support, didn't pick them up, didn't, and then even though my mother says that she chose to stay with my dad, or I should say mom, because my mother is earth. My mom is the carnal body person that gave birth to this body. But yeah, even though my mother says that she stayed with my dad, so she didn't want me to have a non-relationship or no relationship with him like my brothers and sisters did, that were her kids, with their dads. Because remember, one of them is also an only child like me. He's, so, but I'm the only one that connects everybody together. So there's two dads there. But yeah, when she left them, neither one of their dads, well, their dads did just like my dad did to his first 3 kids from his other wife. Just neglected them. Didn't have nothing to do with them, according to my mom, didn't pay child support and didn't come see him, didn't spend time with him, just basically, just acted like he didn't have kids, just like my dad did with his other kids. And then with me, they all see it as I got the better life. But I don't see it that way. Because I had to witness my dad being physically abusive to some of my siblings. And then I also had to be a witness of him neglecting some of my other siblings. And then I don't know how old I was when he started driving truck. I know I was still pretty young. But once he started driving truck, and what I mean by is, 18-wheeler. And back then, it's not like it is now. Back then, he was an owner-operator, and he drove for a company that he would go coast to coast, border to border. They don't really do that no more. It's in localized things, so that way it helps drivers to only be driving for X amount of hours in a day, and it's a safety precaution. So I got to travel. There was times I got to ride with him in the truck and read a map. It's not like it was we did anything. It was just sitting in the passenger seat of a big truck riding down a highway reading a map for him. And so I got to travel to 48 states out of 50. So that was the upside of all that. But there was downsides to that too, because things that he done. So he drove truck, and he would be gone. So it was kind of like, might as well say, he wasn't married to my mom, because he would drive for 2 weeks at least to, sometimes 3 weeks, and then come home for a weekend, and then he'd be back on the road. So it'd be just kind of like somebody, a dad that had visitation rights, only, he came to my mom's house and stayed with me for the weekend, but during that time, the only thing he wanted to do was whatever with my mom, whether it be in the bedroom or going out or whatever. So it's not like he came home to spend time with me and do anything with me. But, and there's a video I talk about people are not ready for having kids, or if you do have a kid or have kids or about to have a kid, you need to go watch that video, because this is kind of what I'm talking about, to where your kids are paying attention to more than what you think, and they're not as dumb as you think they are. So when I was with my dad in the truck, he would get the occasional lot lizard and give me a roll of quarters to go in the truck stop and play video games while he did his thing, even though he was married to my mom. But, don't get it twisted. Mom wasn't the best either at, I can't even think of the right word. It's not celibacy, because that means no sex at all, but, So there was other men in the bed with her when my dad wasn't at home, And I don't care about either one of their excuses, because I've already heard them from both. All they want to do is point fingers, and nobody wants to take accountability for anything that they were doing or not doing or whatever. But yeah, if you ask them, they'll tell you that each other was at fault. It wasn't, they had nothing to do with anything, and they didn't do nothing wrong. And I don't know who was first or who started it, or I don't really care. So also, on a side note, be mindful when you're talking to your kids, don't ever put the other parent down. Because irregardless of how you feel or what you think about what the other parent did or how wrong it was, even if they did do something wrong, the kid does not see it the same way that you see it. So yeah, don't talk bad. I don't care what they did or whatever happened, what the situation was. Don't ever talk down about the other parent to your child, because they don't see it the way you see it. It doesn't matter what happened or any of that to them. I know, because I've experienced all that. My dad has passed away now, but my mom still deflects everything onto my dad, to me, you know. And even when somebody's talking about something, still even today, you know, well, your dad this, your dad that, and I mean, for one, he's passed on, so he's not even here to speak for himself no more. But two, I know more secrets than you think I do about everybody in my family. You know, but I'm not pointing fingers and saying names about nobody, but, you know, there's the train. Well, there's your confirmation. I guess the train of justice and karma is coming. And I'm not the one delivering it. So, and when it comes, you can't hide from it. You can't go get protection from it. Because when it comes from the Father, it don't matter. Ain't no man, no weapon, no nothing gonna stop what he's got coming for anybody. I had to learn that the hard way too. But yeah, so anyway, back to what we're talking about. I'm probably have to do this in multiple videos, because I mean, we ain't even really got into my childhood or anything yet. But yeah, so yeah, I wish I could end this on a lighter note, but where I'm at is, you know, I was actually, well, I don't know about like my toddler years, because I guess, you know, if I did something, my dad would take it out on my brothers and sisters, because he said they wasn't watching me good enough to, which there is some truth in that, but to the extent of his disciplining, I don't agree with. You know, and the way that he did it, I don't agree with either. But yeah, so there was some violent things that I remember seeing. I wish I could forget. That happened to them, and you know, I hope they find healing and let the things go. But I know, because of that reason of my dad doing that to them and the way he went about it, so because they couldn't or didn't do anything to my dad, so they did what they thought was the next best thing, which was, you know, take it out on me, because I'm younger, I'm littler, I'm also his son. You know, kind of just like when the Lord came here, and you know, the world took it out on the Father's Son. And the helicopter's your confirmation there. Yeah. So they would take things out on me, like it was my fault, or I had something to do with it, or, granted, yeah, I might have got in and did whatever that I shouldn't have done, but I was also a toddler and a little child, and, but, yeah. Anyway, but then there was things that the one side of my brothers and sisters would do to some things on the other side of my brothers and sisters that at the time they thought was funny, and and really it was kind of like hazing, bullying, but what they used to do was they used to take my one brother, the one that's closest to me in age, and when he would come to visit, they would take him, and they would mainly do this in the wintertime. And I didn't grow up here, like where I'm at. This is in Ohio, up by Lake Erie. So you have the lake effect snow, and back then it was, winters were a lot worse than the way they are now. But they would mainly do it in the winter, and they would take my one brother and they would strip him down butt naked and then throw him outside and lock the door and not let him back in the house for, I don't know, sometimes 15, 30 minutes, I think, if I remember right. And there's snow on the ground everywhere. It's freezing cold, so it's below freezing. And he'd just be beating on the door butt naked, and they would be looking out the window and laughing and carrying on. And yeah, thank you. Sorry, there's they wanted to make sure I was all right. But yeah, so anyway, they would do that to him, and they would be having a blast and thought it was the funniest thing in the world. Well, little do they know until right now, because this is the first time I'm going to share this. So that messed him up so bad that because he wasn't big enough and there was more of them and only one of him, so what did he do? Yep, you got it right. The next best thing that he could do. So he went after the youngest one, and that was me. Not saying that he stripped me down naked and threw me outside in the snow. Nah, it was something much worse than that. And he was probably, I don't know, I want to say maybe like 13, 14 years old, somewhere in there. I was in elementary. It was, I was in 4th grade. How old exactly, I don't remember. I just remember being in 4th grade. But yeah, we were out back in the junkyard messing around one day, and yeah, the next thing I know, the messing around and kind of wrestling match turned into something much more violent. And I don't mean he beat me up, even though he did rough me up. But yeah, so anyway, so that was the first time. Yeah, I said first time. Um, yeah, I'm not going into details. Um, but yeah. But he also wasn't the only sibling to do such thing. I have another sibling on the other side that did the same thing too. Yeah, so I have a sibling on both sides, my mom's side and my dad's side. That, yeah. And mind you, like I said, I was in 4th grade for the one. And let's see, I would say 5th grade for the other one. Yeah, and I'll let my siblings figure it out. I'm not even gonna, which ones. And like I said, I'm not into pointing fingers and names and whatever. They can do the math. But like I was saying, I was also a good kid. For the most part, I was an AB student in school all the way up till that happened. And then all of a sudden, yeah, everything changed. I started acting out more, but I never said anything to anybody. I've confronted both siblings. Neither one of them want to talk about it. They didn't even try to apologize or anything. But hey, whatever, that's on you. I'm not carrying that weight no more. But yeah, so if your kid all of a sudden changes in actions and the way they act and everything drastically to a point to where, I changed so drastically to where I felt like at that point I had to do nothing but fight for my life, and that's what I felt like all the way up to this point. Fight against everybody and everything, because everything was out to get me, and that's pretty much the way it played out. You'll find out. So I started fighting against anybody and everything, and needless to say that by the time 6th grade, when I had a brother that did something horrific enough that he went away for a good amount of time, went to prison. And because of what he did, and the kids where I went to school, they had family members in a grade below me and whatnot, so they knew I was related to him. And of course, I was related to him, so just like the other part of my story where I'm saying, so let's take it out on him, even though I had nothing to do with any of it, and I'm just a kid. I'm still a kid. I'm still in elementary. Well, at this point, I was 12 years old, so I was in 6th grade. But yeah, so they started bullying me, and then I really had to start fighting against people for stuff that I didn't even know what I was fighting them for, or why they was doing what they were doing, because I had nothing to do with what happened. It was on the news and everything that went down. But and ever since then, it's it's been a fight, a battle in my life for everything. So But yeah, and I have received so much from other people that I had nothing to do with that I still can't make sense of it. But yeah. But yeah, so we're already over 35 minutes, and we're only to where I'm in 12th grade. But yeah, so, and this is only the beginning of stuff I've experienced anyway. So, hate to kind of end it on that bad of a note, but it's going to kind of be that way through my whole thing all the way up to this point. Yeah, I'm not saying I hadn't had some good moments or some good experiences here and there, but they have been very few, far and in between. Some of them because of my own choices and my own actions, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of it that I had nothing to do with and had to face stuff that, you know. But this is part of why I'm sharing all this stuff, so to help somebody else. If you've been through the same thing, you know, you don't know what anybody's ever been through. What they had to endure or anything. So to think that you got it worse than somebody else, I promise you, there's probably somebody out there that's even had it worse than me. And of course there is, because the Father just reminded me. The Lord took everything on for everybody, and He didn't do nothing wrong at all. So, you know, but yeah, so I guess we'll end today's thing right there for now. But yeah, so it's I've been pushed to be on my own and only rely on the Father pretty much my whole life. So yeah, and He's just telling me it's time to share, start sharing my testimony, so it'll help other people, because that's why I'm really doing this. Like I talked about yesterday in the other video, I'm not doing this and telling you to, you know, subscribe and become a member and like, share, and comment, and you know, you can donate to my Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, because if you look at my profile, I don't have none of that stuff, and I don't ask for money. I'm not asking you to subscribe or watch, like, share. If you do, I appreciate it, because it's gonna help to reach other people, to you know, because I'm about the truth and healing, you know, love, real love, not conditional love. Most people don't even know what love is. But yeah, so I'm actually doing this for all of you. I'm not doing this for me, because I've already went through this whole process alone. But yeah, so, and it don't matter if you believe me or not. I know what I experienced. I know what I saw. And I know everything that I had to go through, and who was standing next to me, and which wasn't nobody but the Father. You know, anyway, yeah, until the next message, we'll pick up. I'll remember to start from 6th grade, you know, because this is where, you know, I started getting into a lot of trouble because I was acting out and fighting, physically fighting with people, and all that stuff started because I felt like nobody was protecting me, and I had to start learning how to fight and fend for myself. Um, but yeah, now the Father is fighting for me. Um, and he's telling me I don't have to fight anymore, to just give it to him and he'll take care of everything from now on. So I'm just leaning and trusting on him and faith and everything that I got. And because where I'm at, I don't have any family here, I don't have friends here, you know. So, but that's okay, because I know he's with me. Otherwise I wouldn't be here still. But this is part of the purpose. But yeah, until the next video, peace, love, and light. Shalom.